Welcome everyone to another RGL cast. My name is Jarrett, and I'm here with Space Ghost to bring you guys RGL Invite 6's Season 8 Week 3B. A bit wonky when it comes to the weeks, because I think this is a bit of a catch-up match, but it is going to be between Leica G6 versus Witness Gaming. I think it's Witness Gaming's last match, and G6 still has one more left to go. But either way, both these teams fighting for second seed. Winner gets it. The loser goes to the third seed. It's a pretty big advantage for having the maps go in your favor. Can put a bit of a extra swing on how the pool develops and figure out who is going to have the advantage of getting to pick the third map. That could be pretty huge. Go to a third map and it's the one tailored to you. It can be gargantuan. So it's going to be a definitely important match to. It could definitely set the pace for the round one that we're actually going to be seeing this weekend. So it's a nice sneak peek too, nonetheless, for us viewers. But Space, we got a pretty big match on our hands. Two Titans up against each other, but maybe a little bit of grudge based off the back and forth that's been happening with what happened at Fullerton and then what happens back online. So, any thoughts about going into Sunshine today?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts. One being, it's going to be interesting that I believe since both teams are locked into either the 2 or the 3 seed, we're going to be able to see both teams kind of they're both going to be able to. This is a sneak preview of playoffs, if I'm correct, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
2 plays 3 seeds, so we're going to see this matchup right again. So it's nice to see a little warm up, before the going gets super intense. It's nice to see them kind of feel each other out, see what strats they want to do, and also fight for that map pick. As you said, having the advantage in the map picks and playoffs is huge, especially some teams have really good map pools, some teams have kind of limited map pools, and you definitely want to have every little advantage you can get heading into playoffs.
It's also gonna be really interesting to see how much you really bring to the table. Like, if you think you're that much better at Sunshine, do you really pull out all the stops and then just first span it? Like, do you want that, or do you kind of hold back a little bit and let it slip into the pool? I mean, there's some mind games to be had about uh, when you get this close to playoffs, it's all cards on the table. You kind of bring everything out there, but this is still technically regular season. You could technically be a team that might want to hold back somewhat because you don't care if you lose the regular season match, or at least don't do as well if it means that you can pocket a thing or two for the playoffs run. Not even just for the maps themselves, but for the picking process. Because even as time goes on, as these teams scrim, either themselves or other teams, as well as play these matches, you're getting an idea of what you're good at and what the enemy is good at as well. See if you can kind of do last second tweaks onto what your powerhouse picks are and what the other team really needs to permaban. If you can either A, trick your opponents into like a false sense of security, or B, just be like, nope, we're good at these 4 maps, you can only man one of them, pick your poison. It's kind of interesting to see what teams are gonna really bring to the table. So I'm not really sure what to expect coming from this match, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the score either. When I get to predictions, I'm going to be a little wishy-washy. But yeah, when you bring up, like, especially, certain maps and that kind of stuff, that does go up to the point, like, I remember 2 seasons ago in Grand Finals, Witness were really strong on COTS. If you know that Witness is better than you in all the King of the Hill maps, that makes your map pool much, much harder to deal with.
Mhm.
Because that's just 2 maps you have to get away. Same thing, like, if one team gets rolled on Sunshine, that's, like, a really bad worst-case scenario, because that means you're pretty much, like, there's not that much time between now and playoffs to fix it. So you realistically either have to ban it or really, really, work on
Yeah.
getting your metaphorical stuff together on it.
The one silver lining at the very least is if one of these teams does get rolled on Sunshine like pretty poorly, at least it's kind of fresh. Like if you didn't immediately ban it going into playoffs, you can be like, "Oh, okay, well we lost, but I remember why we lost because that was literally like 4 days ago." So you can address it. You don't have too much time to address it. Like you don't have very many scrims, especially when you go into the playoffs run. You're playing more than just a couple maps. It's spread all into like 2 days, so you don't have too much time beyond like the gap between now and playoffs. So you even have less time than normal because it's like a LAN environment with how tight the matches are next to each other. But at least if you don't need that much time to like test things, you can at least kind of like watch a demo or something and figure out like, oh, when we did that, that was pretty poor. We can tweak that, and maybe you go from there. Maybe if you think the problems are that simple that you could leave a map like that in the pool to play it a second time, then I guess it kind of depends on the scenario. It depends on how the map actually goes and people's comfort levels and what the teams actually feel like is a fixable problem or not. So I guess we'll have to see how the maps kind of go and if a team would even be in that position for the pick bans in the future.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely you know, like you said, the map pools, all that stuff. Do maybe you want to kind of slowly lurch our way over to rosters here because we do have both teams do have two kind of newish players on their rosters in terms of both teams have had a little bit of some one much more recently than the other, but still both teams do not have the same six players that they start the season with, which always makes things interesting and also sees the players you pick up how well can they adapt to the general team environment and flow.
True. I'll go ahead and go over the G6 roster. You have Bot Mode and Camps on Scout, you have Soapy Meister on Soldier, but you have Zilly on Soldier, who's replaced Rakuso, who has departed the G6 roster as far as we're aware. Logan's on Demo, and Howard's on Medic, so, the gang's pretty much, it feels like it's going to be the same team, but, changing the Pocket Soldier can be a big deal, so we'll see how that kind of shifts the way they play.
And for Witness Gaming, we have High Five and Brand Slam on Scout, Laz and Ash on Soldier, Artist on Demo, and Wall Guy on Medic. And yeah, High Five definitely been around, been on the team a little bit longer than Zilly has been. I believe Zilly, kind of last minute not emergency ringer. I think if you have to pick like a player to ring for your invite team, I think Zilly's a pretty good choice, honestly. He has a lot of good multi-classing ability, a lot of experience on Medic, which means he has the game sense for it.
And his Soldier, it's not like it's I mean, at a certain point, you stop calling it an off class. I mean, Zilly's been to LAN on Soldier. He played.
Yeah, he's played a lot of different
Rewind.
classes.
He played Rewind too as Soldier, and he did really good. So I wouldn't even consider this like an emergency. Like, oh, let's just get this guy to off class.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think Zilly's fine. So
yeah, one of the better players you can pick up last minute, honestly.
And I feel like his playstyle is gonna fit really well because he's not as like roamery as Rakuso is on the pocket roll, but he's not like a tank or anything that's gonna completely shift the playstyle of G6. So I think it's in terms of replacements, especially at a high level when you have a very small pool of players to pick from, because you have some of them not in the scene, some of them are on teams, so they actively can't join yours. I think Zilly totally fine picks. So we'll see how things kind of progress and see what scoreline is going to be replicated. If it's going to be a LAN scoreline or an online scoreline for these teams.
That's true, and it's also that's one thing I didn't really think about that often. Is it's another chance for both teams to get their newer players experience in kind of high pressure matches before playoffs start, which is something that's pretty important. It's always
against
it's always,
the first team as well. It's like
yeah.
It's not just normal practice. It's the first team you're playing in playoffs.
Exactly, yeah. So it's a really good kind of just eye opener to see how these teams are going to do in playoffs. And I guess we're not really in the map yet. We can start maybe talking about the map. But yeah, how do you think in terms of the players? How do you think? I mean, we've seen Witness Gaming. I believe we watched them play Froyo, and High Five did pretty well. High Five definitely more of a pocket scout, I'd say, than a flank scout. But High Five still no slouch on the scout class in general. Very excellent, very great player. But
yeah, he held his own.
Yeah. How do you think that, in terms of which team do you think is going to be more affected by maybe their roster dynamics over the season? Losing Rakuso is big, but I feel like, changing scouts is also pretty huge. How do you feel about that?
G6 is going to care probably slightly less because I don't think Rakuso was as integral to their success. Like, obviously, all these players contribute, right?
Yeah.
But I think losing Rakuso isn't going to be as much of a big deal with a replacement compared to Witness Gaming having to swap a flank scout, because there's a whole timing on like how they were using their flank scout as a tool, like with Yite or with Alpha when it came to like off class. There's like rushing in for flank plays and stuff like that. And Rakuso did that too, but I don't think that was necessarily G6's path for success compared to Witness. Witness did a lot of like really flank heavy stuff where you could contribute some of their like victorious round wins were to plays on the flanks. So High Five can fill that role, but it's just going to be different and more adjusting to do and more effort and work that has to be put in to put themselves at the level that they're probably comfortable with when it comes to like being consistently on the top. So I guess we'll see what happens with the battle between these two teams eventually. I think we have info, so that's good news.
Yeah. I have joined the server, so now that I can actually see the map with my eyeballs, I'm prepared to discuss the map.
Yeah, I tried to join the server and my TF2 crashed, so I'm working my way there. Okay, I'll get really there eventually.
It's always got to happen to someone. We're just glad. Hopefully, it's just happening to the caster and not to actual gameplay players.
Okay, I'm almost set.
Yeah, I do see Zilly actually has 25 ping. That's not bad, honestly, especially for projectile class. You can really work with 25 ping. I thought he was a higher ping kind of player.
I thought so as well. I think 25 is definitely workable. I think we have a couple people entering the server. So let's talk a little bit about Sunshine. What immediately comes to your mind when you think about this map?
Well, I think it's not on the same level as Process in terms of being a scout heaven, but it's a pretty good scout map.
It's up there.
It's up there. You got a lot of I think honestly one of the main things on Sunshine that kind of defines it is that unlike other maps, you can kind of see what the enemy's doing a lot of the time, especially like on mid. There's no like it's not like we just watched Granary yesterday. There's no real like giant crates to hide behind that like can disguise what you're doing. If you're on Sunshine mid or even on second, you can pretty much tell where the enemy's gonna be pushing from most of the time, unless you're in a really weird spot. There's a
I feel
lot of
like
like very long sight lines you can see.
the only time you're ever really surprised on this map consistently is if you end up behind the Tetris with your sightline blocked
Yeah,
forever.
and that's the sad zone.
Other than that, you can see a long while, which makes it a pretty strong sniper map. It makes it really hard for surprises sometimes. There are some, viable like flank plays you can do. There's plenty of wraps. I mean, a couple of them have been killed throughout Sunshine's history. I know the ones that are like backcapping last kind of died when a lobby was uh reworked eons ago, but there's still like the classic push through cafe or valley, like instead of forcing the Uber type deal that teams can still do. But that's about it really. So
Yeah,
you can really see what's going on for the most part. So it's kind of hard to um take an enemy by surprise unless like really niche things happens throughout the map. So
yeah.
definitely got to play as a team to the best of your ability and make sure that if you initiate it at the right time, because at the same vein, if you go in and everyone can see you, you might melt a little bit faster than you initially expect when it came to your own positioning relative to the other team.
Yeah, and you did mention it is a pretty good sniper map, and I agree. I don't think it's in the actual upper echelon. I think the sightlines are actually decently well balanced. But it's definitely still, any map's a sniper map if you're talented enough, and definitely it is one of the better sniper maps and off-class maps in general. I don't know, how do you feel about the mid, personally, in terms of, like, we watched Granary, and we've seen some Badlands matches, and I feel like those are maps where if you lose mid really hard, you just get, steamrolled into last, and it's really rough. I feel like Sunshine, it can be a little more forgiving. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I feel like in Sunshine, like if you wipe on mid, the worst case scenario is you end up on the wrong side of mid and you wipe. That's disastrous. But if you just have like a normal kind of accidental wipe on mid, I think it's a little more recoverable.
I
But I
feel
might,
like the perfect word, at least in my opinion, to describe Sunshine mids are brutal. Because
really.
you have the mids where you're, oh no, my Doman couldn't take a medium health pack. Here
Oh,
comes the
you can
roamer,
instantly
I'm
lose
dead.
it.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then you have the mids where it's like, all right, let's go left, and then you're at their choke and you've lost and you can't get out because you're on the wrong side of the map. You have the mids where you tried to W, but everything's literally just too far away because the map is very large because you timed it a little bit wrong or whatever. So there's some
You can have some
times,
disasters, yeah.
yeah, you can like plan out a mid and it just goes wrong. Like whether it's because you're stuck and have to wipe where otherwise you might not have needed to, or you don't get to play the mid at all because it's over before it even begins. There's a lot of different types of things that can go down beyond what is planned by yourself as a team. Things can kind of go out of whack and not really as you expect it to. So I guess that's something that can make it kind of interesting, unique. If you got to keep yourselves on your toes because you don't want to be too comfortable. Be like, yes, we will for sure get our plan off. There's nothing that'll ever stop us from like making sure our plan is executed. But well, I guess that just makes it a little bit more intense for both these teams. You gotta make sure you give it all you got because you slack off even the tiniest bit, it could be the end for your team if you're not too careful.
That is true. Now I think about it, I do think it's not as bad in terms of getting snowballed, but definitely I've seen some brutal Sunshine mids. I've like you said, you arrive to mid, your demo's dead before you even turn the corner into choke.
You need 90 HP at the choke, so your medic is like 40 HP dies to a. Oh no, I forgot. Your medic gets ornamented.
Yeah, your medic gets
he gets
bald. Yeah, he gets bald. He loses all of his hair, gets Christmas ornamented, and then he dies. Oh, I mean, I've even seen the fast rollouts where the person just goes over the demo or just kills the med before the medic arrives at mid.
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of different disasters. There's also there's the mids where you get stuck on the enemy side of the map. Those are honestly the worst because that's when it really snowballs. Because not only are you behind, you have late deaths, you have people with Ubers behind. So those are the real disaster moments. But I think if you can avoid those, as long as you can avoid the major disasters, you're probably okay on this mid. But there are definitely there are some big landmines out there. You are very correct.
Yeah. And as for the rest of the map, I don't think there's anything too crazy about the rest of the map. Although, we're going live. They've readied up. Quick, this is long. What's your pred?
I'm gonna say 5-4. 5-4 G6.
I'm going to say 5-3 for Witness.
Yeah, fair enough. I think this is gonna be a tight one. push to the new roster. We do have Artist rolling at the. He's actually putting a lot of sneakies up in choke. Oh, wait. Geez, that's some new tech. Maybe not new technology, but they actually rolled out the Valley. I'm not gonna say new, but a choke, not the door for them. Both teams are gonna elect to just trade spam right now. Not much happening. Sophie on the high ground, gonna land on Ash. Ash gonna reach up on the high ground. Sophie gonna get a bow. Ash gonna get a bow as well. So we do have some soldier fights going on. This guys are eating damage. Artist gonna eat bomb. Wolfgang gonna eat bomb, but not too much damage. That's a Zilly death. Cap's gonna get landed on my. Yep. Oh, he gets low guy.
Not quite good enough of a surf. Howard's still alive. They could poke around with the heal advantage, but they have to be careful. You know, only so many players that you can deal with at a single time. You want to make sure you take this slow, methodical, and that is hearing what they're doing. They're kind of poking through the valley area. They see all three of the players, so no one's going to really surprise them as Laz bombs in from a weird angle, but, you know, they're taking some damage, dealing it back, and just kind of play this a little bit slow, see if they can take the mid for free, and with the health on Witness Gaming players that haven't arrived quite yet, it's looking like they're being relatively successful. They haven't quite entered yet. G6 are finally working their way over towards their point side, and Ash up on the high ground, same with Laz. Below, damage. Tons of damage on the Logan. 60 HP. Uber comes out though, leaving the demo man in the dust, trying to chase down the opposing demo man of Artist. Bomb on him, will clean him up, giving up his life for it, but taking out Artist and Laz for the side of G6. Very beneficial for them. So at the end of the day, he didn't get a medic, but demo pick is nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, I like what both teams did there. You know, G6 really wanted to get in with that using, which I understand, and Witness Gaming wanted to play to one of their forwards so they can get the second hold better, and I think it really worked out in Witness's favor in that they bought enough time just by standing there and kind of just spamming them in Valley, that they bought enough time to get their medic up, get their medic forward, and get everyone healthy so that way no disasters happened when that Uber did get popped.
Yeah, poking through Valley with this ad they have. It's starting to dwindle a little bit. They are making progress and running in. That might be a flank from the side of G6 over by Cafe. They're kind of poised over there. They're not really trying to bomb into Witness Gaming quite yet. Low guy has worked his way through, and the rest of the team is trying to take positioning. But the Uber finally comes out. Arch jumping forward into the choke. Some damage onto the combo players over on the side of G6, but not quite enough to get the Uber out of the equation. Running forward, trying to take back the point. Able to take down Ash with a very big pick. High five still on the point. Laz bombing forward and maybe get a force of his own, but not quite the position you want to land in. Down on the floor. Will eventually fall. And both soldiers dead in the grave for the side of Witness. That is not going to be a success. You need to retake mid. So G6, fine with the events that have transpired. They have the Uber in their back pocket, working towards the enemy team's choke, working the way through. They know there's no soldiers, but just some stickies to be careful of. There are in, I think, in the bush over by the mini health pack. No one's going over there, really. Blind out will not find anything, and this Uber is still in the equation. Immediately through dungeon, the Uber might get popped soon. The milk a little bit will finally use across the point, actually going over to the center to make sure it's locked down. 4 Witness Gaming players inside on Artist trying to get up, but he eventually kills Logan. He just starts sticking out. Raining terror on the enemy team, will eventually fall. Still able to take him out, but there's only so many players left alive for the side of G6. It is just Howard running away with his life the best he can, and he is out of there. He saw that going sour very, very quickly, and it will eventually get out, but Witness Gaming, very, very nice hold, despite it looking pretty bad. They're kind of locked out, but they found their way out, and now they have an Uber ad to work their way back into mid as for a second try.
Artist killing Logan there is actually so huge. I feel like that really buys them a ton of time too, because Logan gonna jump out, and I think they saw him jump out, so they know there's no really stickies to work with. So Witness are gonna take this pretty much, maybe not for free, they are gonna lose a soldier here, and actually, Ash gonna be hurt too as Zilly's going in, taking some space by some time. Ash is gonna fall off of the damage that Zilly did, so they're gonna trade out Sophie, but having both soldiers down is not a great start when you have Uber, because it means you just have the scouts. Bombo's gonna fall, that is gonna help, but you know. Oh, Brent's them. They forced the Uber, massive Logan pipe. They're forcing the Uber. They're going to back up. The Uber's kind of turning into a disaster. They're going to have to back up here. And, you know, that gives pretty sizable advantage to G6, and they got some forwards to work with.
Yeah, not only was that Uber forced, but the fact that that just popped Grand Slam straight up vertical in the air, he couldn't chase with that at all. There was no way they were collecting any kills with that. So
definitely.
In a pretty good spot. They have their ad ready to go. Looks like Cafe is the door of choice. It is sticking slightly, so you have to be careful about it. They are kind of checking it. Just
they
eat the trap immediately used. Trying to eat themselves into the choke. Damage on the log, but not quite a collect kill. Logan's gonna be a little bit
two players behind.
But yeah, 2 players behind. High five is gonna fall, and Laz, but Logan get cleaned up on the side of Brandsam as the rest of the team backed up to get rid of those players outside of Valley. So no damage, locking down. The rest of the blue team running forward, able to take down Sophie Meister. So pulling door scenario as the blue team runs forward. They do have 80%. So not only are they holding on to mid, but they have this able to use to try to work forward in an enemy team's choke. They know there's no sticky still. Logan's not quite there. Missing their flank bit, but don't need it quite much when they recognize the rest of G6 is all in front of them for the most part. Running forward, starting to dwindle a little bit with the Uber, but still plenty enough to use. Ash taking some positioning and able to kill Zilly, so 1 pick plus a free point. With this Uber still intact, they immediately want to go dungeon. They are on their way trying to make moves and collect the first round for this game.
feeling deja vu, but for the other way around. So Witness Gaming are going to go through dungeon. Logan trying to spam that with some pipes, but not to be able to get any forcing damage. And Witness are so deep without using it's a mulch. There's damage everywhere, but they all hit their vanity mine just in time. Soapy Meister though they relost. They're going to chase down the heavy, chase down Soapy Meister, but Witness Gaming are here, or G6 are here with this Uber, excuse me, but they're getting on the point. They have to block this point. There's kills everywhere left, right, section. Power drop.
I don't think that was a chop drop. I think he literally just got and was going to be able to use it like within the next second or two. But coincidentally, he got, I don't know, he ate some damage he wasn't expecting. It's not like he was holding on to it forever, but
yeah, no, definitely.
He wasn't holding down right. I think he was going to be slightly greedy with it, but that just totally.
Yeah, that was the momentum shift right there. So on that note, we do have Witness Gaming taking the first lead of the match 1-0, but that was definitely a very back and forth round. That wasn't a roll by any means. Logan very hurt immediately.
Yeah, these men are starting a little bit slow. No one's immediately bursting out of the sky or anything like that to try to take someone down, but immediately, as I said, that Soapy in the skybox, looking his way around, is actually going to not really commit on to anyone, as the rest of the Witness Gaming kind of recognize that and are actually going for it at least a little bit. They are going to get a little bit weakened by it, so they're not going to commit too far, and they also recognize that Soapy's so behind. Oh yeah, that's a very big pick, but they are going to give up bot mode, able to take him down on the side of the Tetris, so 5v5, but Soapy is still behind after all is said and done. So they do have this as a tool for the side of G6 to use. Trying to initiate.
Zilly massive moment of Prince, double rockets in. Zilly gonna fall for it, but that's massive play from Zilly. They're killing, but that actually, I think that one, the Wolf guy is gonna be able to maybe escape with his life. It's just him. He does have 92% Uber, so he's gonna save for last. But that was honestly, I think Zilly won that mid for them because he just two-rocketed Grand Slam on that bomb.
Yeah, Witness Gaming, they tried to go for it off the fact that Soapy was behind ages ago, but they ate too much damage and kind of failed. So if they kind of forced to just sit there, and that bomb, eventually goes off and nukes them out of the server. Do you have even Ubers here? You have a lot of G6 players that are still rolling out. This could be very bad for them if they overstay their welcome unless they find like a miracle pick here. They do have I was going to say the platform is kind of sticking off. Logan did debt, but they are still holding their ground pretty well, and despite the fact they had so many people rolling out, Witness Gaming unable to find their footing. So just going back to last and playing where it's safe, making sure they have their Uber retained, and letting G6 knock on their doorstep to see if they can try to break into last.
Yep, we do. We may have settled into our first true kind of like even Uber stalemate situation that has been a leapfrog. They're trying to spam this extremely hard. They're going to get the gun down with the spam, so that's step one accomplished. Ash going to fall low too, so I think the pad did kind of just pressure all the doors hard enough until something shakes loose might work. We do have Zilly bombing in. We had Bull Soldier bombing actually, so a double sack, but actually a triple sack. They're going to get Artist for it, so it's not a total wash, but still 3 sacks. They don't get the force. They get. I do see Soldier in dungeon. Is he getting kicked out? He's going to try to kill this scout. Well, last he's buying time. Okay, he isn't getting shielded, but the other scouts are just streaming through the door, and it's just Logan here. They're going to have to force him to rinse a demo solo.
Yeah, there's not really much you can do there. Too much on your play. They got caught up.
Oh, but the double bomb.
Yeah, they're going to give up high five, but I mean, well, actually, this is kind of reverse. You got, you lost 3 for that.
Yeah, this is going to be tough.
One too many players, I think, for the side of Witness Gaming. They still have their Uber themselves.
They get the force. Ash going to fall immediately. That's going to be rough. Now it's a different demo solo.
Yeah, their chase is not going to be that good. Maybe Zilly
lived too.
Oh, yeah, he's out of there. And the rest of G6, they've rotated to a new door. They're trying to pull their way through at... Oh, Laz definitely did a very good job at stuffing. Heavy on the field in the form of high five, trying to make sure that Laz is locked down. And after all said and done, even though they dropped a player, the Uber was enough for Witness Gaming to hold down strong. Laz did a good job making sure that Howard had no ability to escape. So G6, they're out of 2, and maybe even long-term mid, depending on how things go.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of massive plays from the Soldiers so far this game on both teams. I think they're both doing very excellent jobs of having their impact known, even if it is a quote-unquote scout map. We have Bob mode on Sniper as well, so he's gonna be here trying to lock down the door. So the advantage here is that someone could just spot them through this fence and see, oh, hey, we saw them walking towards Cafe through the fence. They're going Cafe, and Botmo knows where to scope in. So that is one advantage of sniping on this map, is you pretty much know. And the same thing by the lack of information. Like, oh, we don't see them by choke. That means they're going Valley. So this gaming pretty much going to immediately pop here just to get through the door. And that's going to be pretty much it. They see Botmo, they lock him out of spawn, so that crisis is averted. But this is turning into another mid-leapfrog situation.
Oh, G6 is ready. They're not even letting them finish the cap. They've got their Cooper. Oh, no. Howard almost died once again. He was at 9 HP when he popped that. Zilly's gonna fall. A lot of weak players from the side of Witness Gaming, though. Ash is falling as well, so gonna be a trade at the end of the day. Howard's still a little bit weak from the post-Uber, so they might be able to find an opening with high five behind as well. so far G6 are still holding on to mid, and Witness Game doesn't look like they want to poke too much. I mean, they're kind of piecing around a little bit, and now there's gonna be full blast from behind through Valley, gets Logan and Howard. That's huge. They're gonna give up a few resources themselves, but High Five coming clutch, making sure he cleans up from the behind, getting the 2 players, in which is bot mode is really left alive. There is not really too much G6 can do here. Bot mode's trying to go for some sort of play, taking 1v1 while it's still
He's gonna get 2v1'd pretty soon. He is buying a lot of time though. They're gonna have to chase around the map. Bot mode actually going to last, gonna try to take this 1v1, but High Five is a little cleanup bot mode there. So G6 with all of these players down are gonna end up losing mid and Witness Gaming on that full Uber. They are at a rapidly approaching 100%. So that means that G6 have kind of the tall order of getting this force as Witness Gaming try to get into the second here.
Yep, trying to make some space. They know it's a little bit easier because bot mode's not quite there, so one less thing to worry about. Bomb into Logan, pop into the air, but it's going to be fine for now. Weak soldier from the side of Witness Gaming.
Hey, there's the force.
Committing out and will give up his life, but the force will come out, and they're not really able to chase. Logai didn't really link up with anyone, and everyone just gets out scot-free, spare Soapy Meister. So overall, successful force on the side of G6. Out to last. They got an ad of their own to go ahead and build up the rest of the way, waiting for Soapy to respawn. And Witness Gaming on the back foot, setting up on 2 to try to make sure that G6 does indeed use exiting their last.
Well, teams are very comfortable in these kind of leapfrog situations. Or maybe not comfortable is not the word, but they're definitely at least seem to be both okay with it.
Dungeon's free.
And yeah, dungeon is free. They sometimes you do just pick the correct door, and indeed they did pick the correct door. We have Laz and High Five trying to go for a play. High Five gonna get kind of launched into the corner a bit, so that's gonna face some time. But Laz actually still in lobby. He's behind. I don't think they know if he's gonna go for the back half.
Oh,
I don't know if he doesn't have the time though, so he's not gonna actually go for it. But Witness Gaming are gonna try to fight while Laz and High Five are still both behind, but they're gonna lose Hack, Guy, Brand Slam, Artist. Silly's the only casualty here. They're all last, and they're not able to get the cap in time, so they all sold out for the back cap and players behind, and it didn't end up working in the end. They still have this back cap going behind him. It's gonna buy them a little bit of time, but in the end, a disaster for Witness Gaming.
Yeah, I feel like Laz probably could have back capped, but he probably also expected like, oh, they're gonna finish this cap, I can't do it. But the fact that they chased into choke to actually kill Logai was just the perfect storm, the perfect plays to make, the right amount of greed without them fully knowing the situation. So given what's happening right now, I mean, they got the full ad working through Valley. They know there's no Laz that could go ahead and bomb them. Only full 4 players alive and ready for the side of Witness. And I mean, I think of Artist is dead, so they're not really afraid of him. Oh, Ash tried to bomb in, isn't able to make a whole lot of space there. Will eventually die. Artist has to be careful. He's not beamed. Kind of alone in the lobby. Will eventually make his escape, but the Super is still in play for the side of G6. They're just trying to pick a door. It's 30% a little bit. Yeah, it's starting to slow down, but
looks like okay. So Zilly's in, so it looks like Zilly wants to do stuff. Or at least he's pressuring out. As they're gonna walk in here, I think they're trying to get everything using. Zilly's actually gonna live and preserve his life, and they get last. Artist gets screwed. That's a disaster. Both teams are lose at 90% right now. They just need to get this 10% Uber, but the Uber's gonna come in. They're gonna shoot the heavy. The heavy's he gets saved.
Just barely.
That's huge.
Cap's probably not gonna escape. Yeah, chased down by Brain. So nice meat shot on a bot mode. So that Uber, yeah. I guess they didn't realize how much ad they actually had. They just kind of meandered their way over to last, like they were gonna dry off of the pick they got on 2. And I think they finally eventually realized it, like, oh wait, we do have ad. And by then it was too late.
They might have planned on backing up or maybe not doing something, but I think when they got the 2 picks, they're like, oh, okay, we can go in now. And that might have happened as well, because I don't know if they fully expected the spoon on Artist, but once that happens, you kind of have to go in.
Yeah. At least for the side of G6, even though that didn't really work out too well, I mean, you still get to hold on to 2. It's an actual stalemate now, which was what they probably expected for the most part. Oh, Ash dropped very low. Is he gonna? Okay, doesn't die to fall damage, able to rocket himself and make sure he does indeed survive that. But the Sentry Gun will die, which is a very big thorn in the side of G6 if they are unable to get rid of it. So immediately, Sack comes in, at least with this left hand side from their perspective, breaking through and trying to put some pressure onto these players over on this side of the map. Some damage on the Artist, he counters in, and actually Ash is on the chase over the Soapy Meister. Brandsam committing into Lori's a little bit, and Witness Game is actually pretty aggressive here. The force does come out. Laz able to make sure that he bombs in the lobby and get that force, which I don't think they're really expecting him to go that deep, so good play in bot mode. He tries to salvage off the fact that there's 2 players dead and Witness, see if he can get anything, but he's only going to find himself dead.
Yeah, so now Witness have the bolt to dodge here of getting back hacked, but like you mentioned, Sunshine Last, not impossible to back hack. Last could have done it earlier this round, but it's definitely, it's harder than some of the other maps like Badlands or maybe even Granary, I'd say. There's definitely some maps that are easier than others. So Witness gonna try to get out here, and they're taking enough time that, you know, G6 rapidly approaching. Losing Artist is huge. You know, G6 already has 75%. Yeah, that's the backup there. So Yep.
Kills the push.
Just one thing just one little, error or, unlucky thing can happen to you, and that's the last push. Or that's the push out of last, right back to square one.
Yeah, they're immediately trying to pressure.
They're trying to go in. They just want to go in off of this. Their flank players are very hurt, but the Winners Gaming players are hurt. The Winners Gaming gonna pop. They're gonna get players for it, but they do get the force, and they are gonna back up there. So almost like a pseudo just dry push, but
a little too many. Little too many.
It was a George Foreman. That was definitely all part of the plan.
Yeah, I mean, was it really though? They've given a. I mean, I guess if you're that confident about you using your Uber ad at the end of the day, maybe you're not too bent about losing second, but still, it's, points for Witness Gaming, they got, some room to work with that's not on their last. They're showing some presence here on 2, actually, a lot of damage on the Soldiers able to take down Zilly, so no longer able to use him as a kill, but, Botmo pop in the area, is going to flash,
they're going to get
last and high five. The chase is on, trying to chase down Ash, and underneath, is he going to be able to escape? No, not quite. Cap's able to make sure that kill is secured, and with 3 dead,
they're going to try to
might just leave one and keep going. Yeah, Logan's not going to get his
plan.
Uber in time. It's down to Artist to lock down these doors, but they're already caught it through. So Meister, Cap's making space, Logan works his way through, Trap does not really net his way on it anyway, and Artist will fall.
Howard on the point.
Howard on the point. Pipes on. Logan's going huge right now on a 4K. Remaining players from Witness Gaming on the point, but it's not quite enough. Another cap will go in the favor of, or actually I guess not another in their favor, but another cap will go, but this time in the favor of G6.
Yeah, that situation was so chaotic, they just kind of had to let Logan sit on the high ground and shoot down at them, and that's a recipe for having that demo man do 1 billion damage, and that's exactly what happened. Is Logan hit pretty much every sticky, every pipe, and almost, kind of won that last push for them. So, yeah, the accidental or intentional 4-man kind of worked out in the end, I suppose.
Yeah, if you can't break last, just break 2, right?
Yeah, you don't have to push last if you push through 2 first. And no, we're gonna settle into another mid. We do see another. Ash gonna take first he goes to the high ground. I was in the skybox. People are trying to air shot him. He actually lived. I mean, Ash is a miracle. He's so
somehow he
living.
survived this.
Yeah,
somehow.
I feel like Ash is so good at living in a situation. You have Cass behind a little hurt, so they're down a scout temporarily, but he's gonna head back in. Both teams are really trading spam right now. No one really wants to commit to anything super huge. Howard is going to be needing more spam though, so he's definitely more hurt here. He knows it. He's trying to dodge here. No one's really okay. They finally
Yeah, here the kills start crumbling down. Witness Gaming, just enough damage to pull the trigger, and they start falling like dominoes. Sophie's actually behind them, kind of, so they have to be careful, but I don't think he's going to be able to go for anything. He's showing some presence to at least make sure things are locked down, but they might have lowered high five into false insecurity. Now he will escape through dungeon.
At least on the thing.
Yeah, he'll be okay. But at the end of the day, good job from the side of G6. They knew when to hold him.
They're going to try to go in before they get set up. I think they want to go in and try. They wanted to go for it, but Witness Gaming correctly chose the door that they were going to try to pressure in, so that kind of put a damper on that. Ash and Sophie going to do a little bit of a trade. Cap's actually going to fall on the side, going to trade for Brand Slam, so I guess this is good. But Sophie going to fall, so ended up working out for G6. There's so many kills happening.
Yeah, but the fact that Witness Gaming has no scouts right now, I mean, they got 3 picks, which is huge. The lobby chaos overall is not bad, but can they do much more off of this? I mean, they can poke around with Laz and Ash.
I think they want to go.
They poke around with Laz and Ash and see if they can get anything, but
they got
scouts, there's no way they want to Uber. I mean, they got the force, which is good, but giving up both soldiers for it, G6 is, I'm not going to be happy about this, but they have some room to get the force of their own. Bot mode going in, though, not going to be able to find anything, and it seems like maybe the timing was quite, not quite where they needed to be. So actually, they're not really going to be able to find a way to get this Uber out of the side of Witness on their own terms. Witness working their way through dungeon, once again free, finding the way onto Sophie, damage on him from the side of Branson, taking him out, and Zilly on the chase over to the point side, trying to put some damage into one of the scouts, but will not get anything off Branson. He's too smooth. Logan falling as well from a flank from high 5, and the scouts from Witness Gaming are terrorizing, dropping 3 out of the server. Witness Gaming have their Uber still intact, working their way through Choco, working themselves onto the point. The rest of G6 want none of that. 3 dead. There's no way they can hold them mid. They are out of there, back to 2, and the tables have flipped.
They don't have Uber yet. They still have 30% disad, so if Witness Gaming want to go really fast, they can, although they might elect to take it easy. We'll have to see, but they're definitely going to do some hard pressure here before people really get fully set up. And G6 are playing back like they have this disad, so there's no, Witness Gaming, the 30% Uber ad might have been pushing it a little bit. They were, had people on the cap, they had people rolling out, so they're going to look to back up and turn this into a together, but still, Witness Gaming kind of shook off their demons from that last round where they tried to push out a last and failed spectacularly. That time they pushed out a last and it ended up turning into a second and mid push, so, definitely exercise those demons there.
Bot mode spy. We'll see how quickly Witness Gaming sacks, because this might not be too bad if it takes them a bit, and that gives bot mode time to actually go behind and find a good spot. But if Witness Gaming sacks really, really quickly, bot mode might not be in the best position to go for a decloak. It kind of depends. Labs going aggressive, actually taking down Cap, so there's no scouts on the field for the side of G6, which is very not good if you're a G6 fan.
Almost going for it, though. Oh, he butter knives. He's hitting the revolvers. Can he hit the revolvers? Oh, little guy just managed to juke the revolvers. But with 12 HP, I am balls of steel, as they say. He did not pop that, and I respect it. If you pop there, that's definitely not ideal. So yeah, he knows that. That's one of those situations where you just say, I'm not popping the super.
Yeah, and Howard getting gone on by Laz. Air shot not hit. Howard will live to fight another day.
Logan might be caught out, though.
Logan, 5 HP. Oh, Branson takes it down with this. Actually, he didn't even die. I thought it was his last breath. Snow Sneaks on the field, and they have their scouts just barely getting to the fight, trying to chase down an enemy to choke. But they're finding a whole lot here. Branson already falling, so Witness Gaming, despite holding on strong at the beginning, they're starting to falter a little bit. They're working their way back to their own chokes. Yeah, Sophie's a little behind, making them for sure have to back up completely. And G6, despite the high-risk effort not really working out in their favor in the beginning, is starting to work out now, but Zilly is going to fall. Super is going to come out from the side of Witness Gaming, pushing forward in an NDP and scouts, but High Five has no extra damage from teammates to make sure this force comes out of Howard.
Sophie behind again.
On strong, but yeah, Sophie maybe salvages. No, High Five gets him on his way out onto his own too. So G6, they have no sorters, but they have the super, using it into the choke onto Artist, who is jumping away, so not able to chase him down. But Logan is going to die to High Five, who's behind, just terrorizing, taking a 1v1 attack. Cap, is he going to win this? Please, don't do this to him. Don't do that. Okay, Cap
double air stick. Oh my god!
And the Artist just deleted Silly out of the server.
That was a double air sticking into an air pipe. That was disgusting.
Well, after all said and done, G6 is not really going to find too much there. Not a game that'll really hold two, and Witness Gaming holding on strong, able to retake two, back in a prime position to try to get into the round on the board, and it's a pretty decent ad to work with. 60s, I think it's totally fine. I mean, no gun, well, okay, no, they do have a gun. Cap's just building up right now. They have enough time to get a level 2 maybe, but I guess it kind of depends on how quickly Witness Gaming go with this. They do have the Uber now, so we'll see what door they choose.
Yeah, we'll have to see. They do, yeah. We haven't... These last pushes, I feel like, been kind of a little bit of a mixed bag. We'll have to see how it goes. They're going to let them go the standard kind of way into the section. Level 2 going to fall presumably. Sophie falling behind, though, doing some pretty good damage to Ash VP's man, and he's going to block the point as well. He's lived for a little bit longer than I expected, but two Witness Gaming, or two G6 players have already fallen, so, and they're kind of on the back foot here. Laz going to pressure, he is behind, shooting Logan in the back, but nobody's shooting him, but Ash going to get 2 kills here to make this last fight a lot tougher. Just Logan, not much you can do in that situation, and that is going to be a 2-1 for Witness Gaming.
Ash's timing was perfect. He found them in that corner when they were unprepared to really block the point and just landed on pretty much 2 players, immediately deleting them. So, really good plays from him, and that's going to secure Witness Gaming another round here. So, 2-1. We'll have to see what happens to the mids. I feel like so far the mids we've seen have been a little bit slower paced. You kind of feel things out, put some damage in, and when everything seems kind of right, then you eventually pull the trigger. So it doesn't seem like that's going to really change too much. Once again, slow paced a little bit, and we'll see who puts out more damage at the beginning of things.
Yeah, these slower paced mids definitely you haven't seen it. I don't think we've seen any fast rollouts yet. No one really wants to just no one wants the instant death of the server. Both teams feel like, you know, oh, we can win this with team coordination and gameplay, not just, you know, kind of cheese killing the demo right off the bat. Other than that, we do have both teams again just poking in product. I noticed that Blue is definitely taking a little more high ground on their own Tetris and just selecting to shoot down. You know, G6 is kind of playing more further back towards their own cafe, although now we see some more point pressure. G6 scouts are walking forward, and the pressure is a lot. Zilly is also behind, ready to cause chaos if need be, but he's actually gonna... Oh, he is behind. He might try to catch him out here. We'll have to see.
I think he sees the positioning, is unable to really find that, but G6, they found the perfect moment. Branson was just slightly too far forward, away from his team at the least, and able to take that mid, but...
Oh, that was huge damage.
Witness Gaming, enough damage to make sure that Logan is gone, but this Uber's not really in the equation for Howard yet. He's trying to sit on the pack and make sure he can live through this high 5 Uber, and they are going to be able to make sure that he is gone. Sophie, he is
How
fine.
did he get there?
Oh no, just
I don't
chilling
think
in dungeon.
no one in the server other than him knows. I don't even know if I guess he's probably called it, but this could be really disastrous.
Oh, but Howard,
on the timing.
Once again,
they have no idea.
Uses, but yeah, Sophie, he's there, he's ready.
He gets both. He gets Artist and Little Guy. That won them the round. That was
100%.
That was, I don't know how Sophie got behind. He might, but that was a round-winning play from him.
Yeah, just high 5. There's nothing you can do against 5 players. I mean, they got Howard at the tail end of that, but they've lost way too much. Really great play from the side of Sophie there, and yeah, I don't know how we got behind. I wasn't paying attention, but I guess that's just how slippery he is. The timing
Yeah,
is, like, if we can't see it and we can see everything bird's eye view, then you know that his timing was absolutely perfect there.
yeah, T6, as they say. And yeah, I've been really impressed with both team soldiers as the game's going. I feel like both the last Ashe combo and the Zobi combo have both been actually really good. I'm genuinely very impressed.
We'll have to see how this mid transpires. It seems another one for the books in terms of gameplay that we've known so far this match. Actually, things are starting to ramp up a little bit.
Logan getting double
on the
bomb.
Logan. He's gonna surf away, but only into high five scatter.
Laz behind
able
too.
to clean up him, but yeah, so Sophie and Laz behind. Initiation, Silly gonna get cleaned up. Starting to rotate over to the other team's valley. Scout.
Oh, Bobo's eating a pipe. That's gonna signal the end of that. That's gonna be a lot tougher. There's a lot of chaos happening. Sophie bombing doing really good damage.
Logai's dead, though.
Oh, they managed to get Logai's, so that's their saving graces. They do manage to get Logai's. The Caps is gonna fall, and can Howard escape? He's getting chased
There's
down.
no way.
He's getting hunted down. There might be a reason. Logan's here as the respawner. Oh, yeah, okay, they
no,
do get Howard,
Logan's
and they
gonna
get
die.
Logan trying to save his medic. That's a disaster, but there is no mid-cap time, so it's not going to be as hard as a roll as you think, because both medics are spawning, and they're just now starting to cap mid. They all had to sell out to get Howard there, so in the end, this might settle into a last hold, or maybe even a second hold if they play their cards right. But they're down Logan, going to be a little tough.
I mean, Logan was such a late death when it came to his respawn timer. I wouldn't be surprised if Witness Gaming pokes their head out on a 2. Like, no one's there. I mean, they might just sit here at mid. They're kind of being a little bit slow about it, but that might just be them getting buffed, so we'll
They
have
have
to see.
such huge ad.
Yeah, I mean, whether or not they take it for free, yeah, they recognize it's free. G6 is like kind of showing their face, but not really. They're just trying to see if they can get like a weird trap kill or some high enough damage to pounce on, but not gonna do anything there. And the fact that Logai died earlier in the mid means this is a sizable ad to work with. I think it's more than it should be, but 30%. I mean, they're going for it. Really going in on level 1.
A bit, yeah, but they have 20% here. When G6 just need to buy up just enough time for this 26% ad to work. They're gonna stream out the spawn. Art's gonna go, but the point time. There's so many players on the point. They're gonna use on the point, but can they knock them off? No, they have a Buddhist on the point. That's gonna spell the end of it. It's just gonna be high five, and Logai gonna back out. And they know they're both in front, so they can chase as much as they want. We have the scout ulti duo going on. And Bobo is currently on the losing end of it. But if the G6 Witness Gaming got to be careful. If they stay in too long, the reinforcements will come. The scout bomb mode is not on the good end of the scout ulti duo.
Yeah, this could be really bad for G6. They don't have 2 players here quite yet. Only Logan just got here, and he's not able to lock things down really. The rest
Logan's
of
so
G6,
hurt he
Witness
can't even
Gaming, yeah, Witness Gaming able to stream their way in and collect these kills. Really ambitious from the side of G6. I'm kind of surprised they tried to fit for that.
But bot mode, like,
Helps a little bit.
High Five showed his combo scout crawlers there by really winning that ulti duo. So that's the scout fight there.
And the respawn advantage came in clutch too. So with no scouts for the side of G6, I mean, Witness Gaming, they're streaming their way in.
Ooh,
they get 1 out of Sophie from the side of Laz, and yeah, there's just cap time easy. So G6, or sorry, not G6, Witness Gaming, able to take a round end of the half, read 2.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of rounds being won out of teams attempting to push at a last and fail. Have you? At least 2, maybe even more if you stretch the definition a little bit. So I think that seems to be one of the biggest things for both teams in this game is pushing at a last. It's not free.
You really have to judge a whole lot of things. Not only do you have to take into account like the health and the positioning and the sticky traps, but that one in particular, I feel like was just the respawn timers, like, and territory. Like as soon as even if both teams respawn at the same time, it's gonna be pretty fine for the side of Witness to just like launch themselves from their mid spawn like into 2 to be able to fight. Where G6, they got a little bit more walking to do, and it kind of hit them, especially because big thing is having Logan in position to lock things down, but he was one of those late respawners, unable to prevent Witness Gaming from steering the way forward. So yeah, overall,
both demos having a good game looking at the stats here. But
agreed.
Yeah. Honestly, the only real outlier here is a lot of the scouts are having a lot of kills, bot mode kind of down there, but that doesn't mean he's necessarily having a bad game. It could just be sometimes he rolls the flank scout is to not be on the stats and not have a good time. So, yeah. We'll have to see how that's going, but Witness Gaming, I think we expect it to be close, and so far it has not let us down. I feel like this has been the match of just leapfrogs over and over again.
Yeah, I think the little things have really mattered for both these teams. The tiniest adjustments to give yourself the edge, and I guess that's what's going to be happening now in the halftime. Both teams have had a pretty good opportunity to you get to see what really works for your team and what really is the nail in the coffin for your gameplay. And now they got an opportunity, both teams, to really refine things, take a second to figure out what is the big thing that's losing us mids, losing us last holds, preventing us from transitioning or breaking stalemates, etc., etc. So Now things really ramp up because you get a chance to talk and figure out what the biggest problem is for either of these teams. So when it comes to potential changes, are you expecting anything in particular when it comes to what we might see differently in the second half?
Maybe they'll change the heal order a little bit. I'm looking at the heal spreads here, and while they're actually pretty close, the one thing is that G6 are healing both their scouts before both their soldiers. Zilly definitely electing to play much more of the kind of roamer style of pocket, where he's kind of he's made a lot of big plays. I think he's actually having a pretty fantastic game. He's going in, making a lot of bombs, doing a ton of damage. But definitely, maybe I feel like Ash is definitely much more of a maybe not a pockety pocket, but Ash definitely I don't know how to put this exactly, but Ash is definitely more content with just kind of sitting around and just being healthy if his team needs it. You know what I mean?
Zilly's more willing to play a jump map,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
as the game is transpiring, where
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Ash is totally fine just like sitting and spamming rockets until it's his time to do things.
Yeah.
Slight playstyle difference and
Yeah, it's a
beneficial in
playstyle
different
difference.
moments.
And nothing inherently wrong with either playstyle. We've seen, roamer style pocket work extremely well. But definitely, I guess that's one small thing they can change. But overall, I think I think it's very close. I think if you really want to go to the back to the drawing board for both teams, it's pushing out of last. And even then, Winners Gaming did have a pretty good push out of last after the one of their disasters. So definitely, maybe they cleaned it up. G6, maybe you just want to clean up pushing out of last. But yeah, I feel like it's a lot of really small micro things and not necessarily some super huge big things. Maybe one of the teams want to change up their mid because both teams have been kind of doing the same style of mid, but I don't know. What do you think if you're going to change anything? What do you think they change?
I don't think there's anything super glaring, really think about it, because both teams they've had opportunities presented to them that kind of are accidentally squandered. Both teams had to sit on last for a moment and try to deal with things. Both teams, you know, uh, tried to go for forces and stalemates and accidentally gave up too much. Both teams have shared pretty much the amount of mid victories. I'm pretty sure it's 3-2 in favor of G6 right now. I think Witness won the first mid and the last mid, and G6 won everything in between. So they're sharing a lot of the same problems in some moments and are actually pretty close. I mean, it makes sense because it's a 3-2 game, but I think that means there's not really a giant pattern that a team is like, oh, this is the big issue, like glaring, this is the thing we need to fix. It just kind of comes down to preference on like ideas of like, hey, you want to do this to like change things up and like, change the pace. Maybe it'll surprise them. And that's where you can like kind of see like, oh, someone's on an off class much more than you expected. Oh, they've completely changed the style of mids, like, that type of thing. So
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything. I think it's hard to have an expectation for changes. You could see some, but it wouldn't be because it's a giant problem. It would be for a change of pace at that point.
Yeah. I think one thing also that I've noticed is there's a lot of during these fights they've been super chaotic. I think partially because all the times one or both soldiers for either team are gonna just jump behind during the fight, and I feel like it makes these fights so much more kind of scuffed, if that would be the word to use. And it's very entertaining to watch, but it definitely is very chaotic. You might want to wonder maybe if either teams double down on the going behind or causing these chaotic fights, or maybe they want to clean it up and let's say, all right, let's make sure we have all of our players like kind of together in the same blob, so we push instead of going through these wraparound kind of plays.
It's interesting. I think in the beginning, Laz wasn't going behind at all, and only when they were unable to go forward, when the one time that Soapy went behind, and they got kind of squished because they were unable to just hold W from the dude behind, is when they started to send him behind too. So eventually, I mean, I don't think they're going to permanently do that, but they've shown to alter their playbook a little bit, and I'm curious if Witness Game is going to continue to do that type of thing for their mid, just try to predict like how G6 is going to play and try to work off that. Because so far, I think G6 have played. I mean, it's been the same, slow paced, but Witness Gaming, I think, have done more slightly different things when it came to the way they position themselves for the slower mid. Whereas G6 have kind of done mostly the same thing. Like they had that one Valley rollout, sure, but it's just mostly like chill, sit on the Tetris and the high ground, send Soapy behind, and that's about it. So I feel like maybe we could see Witness change the way they do their mid just because they might see like an opening, like, oh, G6 is playing like this, so let's do this to counter them, and then maybe we'll see an opening there. But I don't know how long that will last if it happens, because G6 has also proven that they can make some mid-round adjustments as well. So I think that's when it's gonna really come down to is I mean, sure, the halftime is gonna be important. I think both these teams are probably capable of, if they get completely destroyed by like a change in a hard counter that happens over like this couple minute discourse that the teams are having right now, both teams should be able to make that not go beyond just one round, or like you can clean it up real quickly. So I think it's just going to be like heat of the moment, small changes. Still keeping on the like the minute differences type of train that'll lead you to victory, rather than one giant thing that makes you sweep away into a 2-0 or a 3-0 victory in the second half.
Yeah, I forget what caster said this at some point, but I remember there was a caster who said, if the first half is really wild and chaotic, the second half is usually kind of turns into a stalemate at some point, and the opposite is kind of true. You think that's going to be one of the situations where I've definitely seen, it's weird. Sometimes the game will keep going the same thing, but I've seen games totally flip on their head in the second half where, like, that first half was very exciting, right? There wasn't really a lot of stalemates. There was a lot of back and forth, a lot of dry pushes, or a lot of just pushes that were pressures that turned into pushes because their initial kind of sack wave went so well. Because they all like to do the whole thing where as 6 players they will run forward to create the pressure so their sacks actually do something. The Sunshine kind of allows for that, and I wonder if they're gonna keep doing that or if the game's gonna somehow turn into a kind of a turtle stalemate situation.
It's possible because both teams have had the issue where they try to go for sacks and then like, oh no, we've lost 3, oh we've lost 4, and then you just kind of like lose from there. It's possible that a team decides like, even though that's happened to both of us, let's try to prevent that from happening. Let's play a little bit slower with the stalemates. Let's do like 2-mans and that's it. Let's like do off classes. Then that can kind of slow the game down a little bit. And might make things a bit easier for them. But we've also seen that happening with G6 who turned that around. Remember they did that 4-man? Even though they had to give up the point for it, the fact that they like, I think was that, I don't know if that was the time Soapy was behind, but
No, different.
sometimes it's easier to just get the team out of last and just use ad to like break into 2 and win 2 that way.
Yeah, you steamroll from second into last as opposed to just having to, do the 6v6 fight on last.
Right, and because teams can favor that, it makes me kind of feel like I don't know if things will slow down. They might just continue to do 3-mans and 4-mans like really aggressively, and if they end up like giving too much, then they're okay because they'll just use their advantage elsewhere.
I gotta say on this rollout, I'm looking. Is Soapy the only stock user, rocket launcher user? I'm sure Zilly is original. I've been noticing there's like only like 2 stock users in Invite this season. I think Soapy's one of them.
Maybe. Oh, immediately Howard taking a lot of damage early on. Not going to be a pack available for him, but Logai doing the same, so MX a little bit in the red zone, but Logai, his reach has not quite come up yet. Scout duel on the soldiers into the side of the cafe.
Art's going to fall,
nice
though. Brand Slam 2. High Five is also very hurt. This is going to be a super big cleanup. Now it's on Witness Game to see if they can get Howard of some way, shape, or form. Blaz is behind, so I think, yeah, they're just going to hunt them down. They know. They know. But he is fighting in, like, the Happy Soldier area, but, Cap's gonna tactically dodge all of the damage and clean up that up. So, Witness Gaming losing the first mid, so we might pretty quickly here go back to having an even time if G6 can use their Uber ad to push.
Yeah, I think they tried to distract very heavily in Cafe, like shoving a couple people into it, but it just wasn't enough to really distract G6. They really collapsed onto them in Valley and able to, kind of nix that immediately. Gonna lose caps on their entry into lobby, so G6 gonna be down a scout here, but they do have this ad they can use. Might just wait for caps to spawn and then just go with bot mode. It'll probably be the play. It's going to give more time for Witness Gaming to make sure they're all ready and raring to go. Guns level 3, but will eventually get taken down by the side of Logan. Immediately coming up to Uber, blasting his way to the other side of the point, trying to lock down Artisan in the spawn, but the other shutter's just open. Logan going to die. Ash bombing onto him. Ash going to give his life for it, but the A-OK with taking down an enemy team Noman and the dying for it. Bot mode popped up, going to die. Logan taken down by caps, though. Huge pick on his way out. And, overall, despite G6 not doing a very good job at securing the last, at least that salvage at the end means that Witness Gaming, they're hot on their tail trying to push them out into mid, but that's all they're really going to get, pushing them out into mid. They've gotten 2 locked down, but this ad is still in favor of G6 after that Uber.
Yeah, the very small Caps redemption arc there is he may have died to the sticky trap before the push started, but because he was so late to the last push, he was actually able to kind of run in and just kill the medic and die for it. So that's nice. And I guess this is just going to turn to another Uber at last push. We do have High Five on Sniper, Branch Sub Engineer, so they're definitely expecting it. We only have a level 1 right up, and now it's a level 2. So we do have that, and so I guess in the end, even though they pushed out the second,
holy deja vu.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I'm witnessing deja vu here.
Alright, try number 2. New door.
Yeah. Yeah, Cap's definitely.
Oh no, they're saying never mind. They're outside.
they learned from last time.
Yeah, they're saying screw it. Which,
All
I
right,
mean, I guess that kind of goes into the thing, like, are you going to see teams play slower, or are they going to keep playing aggressive? That, you know, the halftime question we asked. And I guess we're seeing it now. They've already decided that, oh, okay, we literally just did something aggressive, and it didn't work out. Let's just slow things down. And
it's that stalemate. I called it.
yeah, bot mode's on spy. Once again, try number 2. Is he going to stay on? All right, he's not out of the
I
spawn
think he's
yet.
checking off classes. He checked if they had a spy, and then he went sniper.
Okay, smart.
Yeah, that's actually very smart. Yep. Knowing that you don't have the defensive spy to work with is kind of nice if you're the team trying to push in the last, because it's one of those things you don't check for that often. So knowing that, hey, that you don't have to deal with that, it's just extra side. Sophie trying to play a jump map over. Mission not accomplished. Laz is gonna eat a lot of damage, but it's gonna be able to back up. But you have some kind of players lingering in the lobby. Cap trying to take a 1v1 versus high time, and actually winning it pretty hard. But he's gonna let up. He almost had the triple, 3 strikes throughout kind of deal, where he almost fed a 3rd time in the same exact doorway, but managed to get away in time. Caps actually really wants to take these 1v1s versus high 5 in the top right, because I think they know that Lol guy's kind of hiding in a corner, so they can go fight these guys top right and pressure, and there's no heals there to back him up.
It's going to be hard to actually snipe the Lol guy. Probably going to be going for a different target given the positioning of Witness. I mean, they have the gun on the point. It's gotten spammed down before, and spammed down once again, and unable to put enough damage on the Logan to prevent that from happening. So
yeah,
the prime
you
positioning
shoot
for the red
player.
team.
In this situation, it's a sniper class, you shoot a flank player or the demo. You just shoot wherever you can see to open up so you get more room to actually play the game. But yeah, this is like, I don't know if this is a, would you say this is a new hold? But definitely where the medic's holding. I don't know if this is just the anti-sniper spot, but bot mode is going to fall. It's kind of hard to see anything realistic that's not going to be able to immediately do a bunch of damage to you, so not surprised there. But in the end, it's pretty much all, I was going to say only a single sack, but they beat up Sophie in lobby, so it's going to turn actually into a double sack.
Oh, and they're through.
They're just out.
Immediately
Logan,
he was so unprepared for that. Not only did he didn't have stickies on the door, but immediately taken out by the side of
they get high five on bombs. That's something. They're actually gonna. This is interesting. They're actually gonna exchange Ubers here. Witness Gaming have so many different players to flash, but Red popped so much earlier. It's not gonna really matter.
Zilly dying though, and Howard unable to get his way out of the corner, gonna fall as well. The collapse coming from the rest of the
respawners here.
But the respawners, yeah, trying to go in on the Logai. Maybe not quite enough damage on the team as a whole, and none on the Logai himself. So yeah, Logan's out of there. Double sticky his way and. Gonna just barely live 25 HP out into his choke. The rest of his team's going to respawn, so that was huge. They picked the right door, right moment, got the right kills. Witness Gaming are on a roll right now, able to take mid, and they can probably block out the forts, maybe? Yeah, they do. So 4v6 here is not going to be favorable for the side of G6 as Witness Gaming begins this try.
Yeah. Look at the sneaky trap actually, but both the soldiers kind of jump past it, so both soldiers are going to be on the high ground shooting down, but High Five is going to eat a little bit of damage, and Sophie is behind yet again.
Oh, Logan? Below?
The Logan does get caught out. Sophie's behind. He's going for a high bomb. They're trying to pressure out Witness Gaming. Witness Gaming are all on the money platform. They are going to get forced. It depends how many kills can they get with this Uber. Caps is going to be a little caught out. He actually is going to be able to live at least for now as G6 is backing up into the lobby. Ransom on the chase, going to try to fight bot mode. He actually does manage to win it and live, so massive Scout v Scout fight there as all Witness Gaming are just rolling. It's just Howard and yeah, this is a round.
They don't call him Brand Slam for nothing. Collecting kills and Laz getting a couple. Actually, he reached a 5K near the end there. So Witness Gaming is securing a second round. They're really on a roll there from last to last pretty much, and only one more round to go if they want to tie not tie this up, but tie things up and secure this victory for themselves. G6 got a bit of a road ahead of them, but they still have some rounds on the board, a little bit of some leeway from the previous half, so they're still in this, but we'll have to see how things transpire at the mid. I don't think we've really seen too much like that's been really crazy or changing. I mean, you see that the Valley rollout once again, but it's only going to prevent the initial spam from coming in. Soldiers taking the high ground, Zilly bombing around, but not really committing on the other team. Yeah, meanwhile, the Witness Gaming Soldiers immediately going on to Howard. Last backward, but last rocket is unable to reach him, and actually Art is falling as well. Sophie not even dying for it. 11 HP is going to survive, so G6 giving up none for that mid, making sure that not only their medic can survive, but there's no stickies here as they begin to float their way through the choke, trying to chase down the Witness Gaming players. Only 3 left alive. Both scouts, though, unable to really make sure they can get onto them, so they will survive for now, able to get out into last, and it appears that G6, they're still holding on strong. They're still in this fight.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, this is going to settle into another last push for G6. I feel like they've definitely been in this situation before. It just depends on how well they can actually execute these kind of sacks into last. I feel like if they lose this match, this might be the thing they really want to go back to the drawing board on. Is, hey, how do we push last? Because they turned the last push into them losing the round. So we'll have to see how it goes this time.
Yep, even Ubers that try to sack in bot mode. Are they going to lose Logan? Oh no, he's able to get out. It's going to be Ashe that's falling as well as Zilly as they continue to kind of squander around inside the lobby area. So going to be just trades back and forth with Laz on the move now. Going to be able to commit his way out, and he's actually behind. I don't even know if they saw that. I think they did. Laz bombing in. They don't see him. Hello, he's right there. Not enough damage onto Howard though to get a force out. And
I find that fall.
Yeah, a little bit of a trade there. They have some room, G6. There's still a gun, so it's not tons and tons of room, but never mind. Immediately taking now with 2 pipes. Logan's been on both, making sure this gun's cleared, but Witness Gaming unable to really lock that down and prevent it from happening. Ashe a little bit weak, unable to really hold this door, giving his bot mode some room, able to get one shot out, but not before he eventually falls. We're rebombing Ashe after the arrow, but enough distraction.
Get the force.
Oh, the air shot too. Logai would have died to that, so Force coming out, trying to chase into dungeon to see if they can see anyone else in lobby, but no, G6 completely out of there.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Ashe actually is going to go for Soapy. Almost hits the air shot, but not quite. And Ashe is going to die for it. Now, Vlad's actually going in too, trying to clean up. We'll have to see how this goes. They do get the force, but there's so many. I feel like this is deja vu again to the last half where, you know, Witness Gaming tried to push out a last, ended up being a disaster, and G6 just kind of strolled into last because there's nothing to stop him.
Oh, Grand Slam.
I'm trying to fight Grand Bot mode on top.
He's
He's going to win that. Bot mode redemption arc, going to drop a skis NT bind. Love to see it.
It was really sad. Artist tried to backpedal into the shutter to escape that Uber, but he accidentally backpedaled into the wall. Just missed the shutter, kind of barely. So and he ended up dying to the Uber. So it was really sad to see that happen. Demo man sympathy. But G6, they're still in this. No, not too many rounds away to be able to take the match as their own. So these mids are going to be really important to set the pace and get some last pushes in your favor. So far, continue to see no super fast soldiers to try to go into the enemy team. It's bread and butter when it comes to gameplay so far from both these teams. High gun control, at least a little bit, not too much though. Not too many soldiers spamming downwards, just kind of playing the floor, getting ready to bomb around. Witness Gaming taking some positioning around the enemy team's choke as they start to play ring around the rosy, taking each other's side. This is where it gets very dangerous. Whoever starts to lose this mid is going to fully lose this mid, it looks like, as they have completely swapped in taking each other's colors.
Yeah, both scouts taking a pretty sizable amount of damage, but they're going to be healed up. That is the tokens. Both teams now have Uber, and this is such a stressful situation, especially for G6, because you don't even have that courtesy.
Oh, high five.
Yeah, high five going to eat a pipe or whatever that damage was. Ransom getting really forward there, trying to make some space, maybe to shake something loose, but both teams just electing to stare at each other right now. They both know that this is such an awkward situation. It's really just about who blinks first and decides to go for something.
Yeah, they're really trusting the other team's, not trusting, but respecting the other team's counter-initiation. They don't want to just do a double bomb unless it's right. Zilly going in, trying to find the damage onto Artist, but there's no follow-up. The timing's just a little bit off. I don't think Sophie is quite ready.
He was hurt. Logan gonna fall too. This is where it starts, might turn into disaster. Oh, G6, very smart from G6. They're just gonna, quietly sneak their medic and scout out.
Yeah, Witness Gaming didn't even see that happening. I think they were focused on the other sides of the map.
They're looking behind. I don't know did they see that they got out?
I don't know if they saw, honestly. I mean, they were so focused on the fact that Sophie and Caps were like behind still that they didn't. I don't think they were focused on the combo. Here
comes the use. They're gonna try to see if they can force Lol Guy is gonna have to force, but there's so many players to deal with. And Bob would actually gonna end up on Howard is no one to heal and he's Uber, but unfortunately all the Witness Gaming players elected to chase other players and Howard's just gonna live. There's going to be a lot of kills traded back and forth, but in the end, it's just a 2 for 2. So, honestly, if you're G6, I think you take that. That was stressful.
Yeah, I mean, if you lose a mid and you are on the other side, you expect to wipe. So the fact they're here is pretty great, but flank coming in from Zilly, trying to lock down the choke, but will only give up his life worth. No one able to clean up the damage done, but bombs on the Caps, drop below, Ashe able to collect that kill, and G6, they're not in a pretty good spot right now. They're already backed all the way to Shutter. Weak players from the side of Logan and Howard, unable to really fight. And Witness Gaming able to make sure they get through the choke pretty much unscathed, spare a little bit of damage. And with the players alive on the side of them compared to G6, they're still on the move.
Someone
bomb in from Ashe. Oh, no surf there.
Oh, he gets both.
To Ashe. What a huge play.
That might be the round unless G6 can really pull something out here. Witness Gaming going to stream in with this Uber. They're going to pop Uber. No one can really shoot her, just the soldier. They're going to get Sophie here. Bomb mode behind, going to try to shoot the players on the point. They're going to bomb the point, but they don't have the respawners. They have a heavy in spawn, and that's it. And Zilly, who's hurt. It just caps on heavy. You can only do so much, and that's going to be the game for a 5-3 for Witness Gaming. So I believe, wasn't that your prediction? You were right.
Oh, I was right. Nice.
Let's go.
Huge plays at the end there from the side of a lot of the Witness Gaming players to lock things down. A good showing from the side of G6 though as well. This is a pretty good game. 5-3 is pretty respectable from both sides. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen this weekend. After all, this was for the seed. Win this game will indeed lock down the second seed, so they get to choose what side they are when it comes to the pick bans of the playoffs that will be happening later in the week. And curious to see if Sunshine's going to make another appearance or not. Now I just got my mind kind of turning.
Got your mind turning? Yeah,
Yeah, pick
I
bans are
think
always pretty interesting.
yeah, I think both teams would be okay with picking this map in playoffs, which I think is benefit. Neither team really got rolled. It was even enough, and I think that G6 can go back and fix the errors. That I think both teams would be reasonably okay with picking this map in playoffs. It wasn't dominant enough on either side to really say like, oh, hey, we can't play that map in playoffs. So that's the positive note for G6, but Witness Gaming are going to have the higher seed in playoffs. So that means they might have the better map pool. They do have their choice of how they want to pick and ban the maps.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Sunshine as maybe the tiebreaker, depending on obviously if they pick it. Who knows what it's going to be up against? But we do have the logs here to take a look and see
Holy
what kind
Branson.
of strikes us. And
Holy
yeah,
Ash.
yeah, Branson went huge. Same with Ash.
Zilly has the sad stat line, but he did more damage than Soapy, which just goes to show you that soldier kills they kind of get gifted to you. Sometimes you can't just take them.
I mean, soldier synergy is extremely important. We even just saw the last round.
Yeah.
Just whatever the reason, the fact that Zilly and Soapy were a little bit off on some of their bombs. It can be pretty important. It probably is one of the reasons why things can go so slow sometimes for the mid fights. If you're unable to sync things up properly because the timing's wrong or the positions are wrong or someone accidentally got hurt, then you might want to take things slow and see if you can just out damage them. So definitely very, very huge. And Ash and Laz are prospering as always. They've definitely shown that they're an S tier soldier combo, very menacing, and definitely did not disappoint tonight for their team.
Yeah, very impressed with Ash and Laz, especially on a map like Sunshine, where Sunshine is definitely a scout map, but Sunshine's also a map where you can go deep if you want to. And I think all the soldiers showed today that Sunshine is the map where if you want to go in and just land on top of 5 players, this is one of the maps where you are in a very good position to do so because the skybox is high, the scouts can't deny you super hard if your team's supporting you. So definitely soldiers still have their time to shine.
Mm-hmm. And even if something is a scout map, the fact that it is like it just means that you are that much more pressured to try to put on like a good performance. If things are going to be harder for your class in particular because of everything that's going on, it's if you're doing good, then it means you have a box checked that the other team might not. Always a beneficial thing to have.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Shout out to Recruso in chat saying he got cut for Zilly.
You hate to see it.
Yeah, I really hate to see it, honestly. Yeah, on that note, I guess I don't know if we're gonna do interviews or not. Check. I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, not getting responses. Yeah, I'm down for. I don't. Up to them, I suppose.
Yeah, if they want to show, we're here as always. But I guess it's a good time to go ahead and remind everyone that playoffs is entering very soon, and we have to stress it because it is slightly different than previous online playoffs. It is not over the course of multiple weeks. It is going to be over 2 days. This, if it was a LAN, it is going to be this weekend, starting on Saturday, ending on Sunday. Start times of 3 p.m. EST. So it's 8 hours earlier than our normal broadcasting time. So make sure you're aware of that, whatever time zone you're in, and don't miss it because I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that all right, last match is in. I'm ready for playoffs, and then they don't realize that the matches they need to be watching are over the weekend because matches are never on Saturday and Sunday. That's not the time that you're thinking about watching, invite level TF2. So make sure you remember.
Yep, and yeah, definitely also make sure to set your alarms. I'm sure some of you have the cringe sleep schedules out there, so 3 p.m. sharp. No sleeping in.
True. We have to make sure we don't sleep in too much as well. We gotta sleep in just enough to make sure that we can survive through 6 to 9 maps, but also don't accidentally oversleep. So we got some work
That may
ahead
have
of
been directed at myself.
Oh, that's for me too.
Yeah, on that note, I guess if we don't have any interviews, I guess we want to call it here, do a couple shoutouts maybe.
Yeah, we can do some shoutouts. Let's do the shoutouts and then we'll do. Yeah.
I'll just shout out Ski, shout out both teams. Both teams are playing a great map and a great match, and both teams we're gonna see them again next Saturday.
True. Definitely shout out to all the viewers for hanging out and watching with us. Shout out to Slam House for the music that's always popping up pre and post cast. I know sometimes I think it's cut out for YouTube videos. If you're a YouTube viewer and you're interested in listening to some sick music, maybe check the Twitch VOD where it's the music's not cut. You can get a little taste of what people are jamming out to pre and post game. It's pretty nice. No complaints here. Definitely want to check out merch. It's seasonal, so it comes and goes as the season goes on. Want to keep things fresh and new for people to check out. Shop.rgl.gg as always, and see if anything interests you. I think it's been the same so far for most of the season, but hey, maybe you haven't been keeping track of too much. I know casts have been pretty wonky this season, so it's kind of hard to catch as many casts for this season in particular. But we're fixing that, and this week's gonna be jam packed, especially over this weekend. But see if anything catches your eye and take a peek at it. But I think that's pretty much it for us.
Yep.
We got a cast tomorrow. It's going to be Cozy versus the Jug Dealers. Cozy have already locked in their slot, but we haven't really seen too much of them, and it is their last match, so it's a nice little sneak peek of what they might be like when they play their fellow playoff players coming this weekend. Get a taste of what's to come and what teams should be aware of. And then past that, I think there's nothing Thursday, and it's smooth sailing over to the playoff games that are happening Saturday and Sunday. So make sure you're there. It's a bit of an awkward time when it comes to a schedule when it comes to like being used to the time that is being played, but you'll manage. You'll be fine. Just pretend it's a LAN, and everything will be a-okay. But I think that's pretty much it for tonight. Got no more games. Got nothing else to say. Thank you all for watching. I've been Jarrett, casting with Space Ghost with Dolphin on production. Thank you and good night.
Good night.